Hello, everyone. My name is Rafał Kataszyński. I hope you already kind of know me because there should be like a short video of me talking with Chris Sanchez in the beginning. So thank you to organizers for letting me to speak for a moment to tell you my story and tell you some of my kind of thoughts on soft landing in Nevada, soft landing in the US in general, right? What to do, what not to do. I hope this will be a practical and informative session for you. So without further ado, let me go through my presentation. So what I want to kind of tell you about is I want to show you my path. I want to tell you about the path I've taken, and I want to share with you, all my missteps, all the problems, and where I am now, and how I can help you with how my story can help you your expansion to the US. So so let me tell you like my background. I'm originally from Poland, from Chełm, so east part of Poland. My education, my PhD is in computer science, but after college, with my dad, we founded Diagnomatic. It's a medtech company. We do medical equipment, medical software related to diagnostic imaging. And from the start, I knew that Poland is not enough for me. I knew that I want to expand. I knew I want to go global. And US, one of very huge economy, was always on our radar. We always wanted to to have distributors there. We wanted to be present on this market, but it is a very, very tricky market to enter, very difficult market to enter. And I will share some common challenges with you in a moment. But we had a lot of problems with that. We couldn't the same things we did in other countries, Korea, Japan, in Europe, in South America. It just didn't work in US. So for us, the breakthrough came in 2015 when we opened an virtual office in Miami, Florida. And then when I contacted companies as a US company, suddenly we got first distributors, we got first partners. At the same time, we already had distributors in over 80 countries. So this kind of like shows you the scale of a challenge, right? Here is like US, and we in the same time we were tackling US, we managed to do 80 other countries. But that kind of opened this market for us, and you already know from the story from my talk with Chris how I came here, right? I came here in 2019 as effect of cooperation between Nevada and Poland. I was one of the first companies that came on a business mission in 2019, and I already mentioned this in this discussion with Chris, but I saw the big potential in this ecosystem, and I will share some features of this ecosystem with you later. That kind of made me make this kind of decision to move me and my family to Las Vegas in July 2019. And that move, when I moved here and kind of started doing things in person, started to build my network, build my relations here, kind of that was the big change for our company, for Diagnomatic. It's also not only allowed us to kind of expand in the US, but it also was kind of like a launchpad for us to grow globally. Thanks to these actions, our company practically doubled in size very quickly, and now US is around 30% of our global revenue. So from nothing to 30% so it's like our biggest market. So it's kind of like a big achievement for us, because now we are kind of treated with competition. We have strong local competition, but we are treated as local, right? So that was game changer for us when it comes to growth of our company. But like to kind of give you also like idea of what I'm doing here, right? I'm not only Polish entrepreneur who moved here, right? And I'm growing my Polish company. I'm also US entrepreneur. Since I moved here, I was always like fascinated about US entrepreneurship culture. So I got into mentoring, I got into angel investing. Over those years, I mentored, I think, like over 400 companies from Nevada, from California, from Silicon Valley, from East Coast, through different mentoring organizations. I invested in co-invested in more probably than 20 companies. I didn't even count at this point. And I founded over 5 profitable ventures here. So I kind of know how to build businesses here locally, how to make them work, how to reach customer, how to be successful here. And also over the years I mentored international companies that wanted to come here, right? Because I'm always invited to this kind of conversation. Like yesterday, I was on a meeting with Korean delegation that came here for Money 2020, so fintech. So like I was talking with a lot of international companies over the years, and from those conversations, I kind of like figure out, okay, like challenges I was facing are not unique. It's something that everybody kind of everybody has the same problems in their expansion. What are those challenges? So the first one, and I think like the biggest one, is this misconception of this market being easy. It's a huge market, right? It's 25% of global GDP, but we have to think about it as collection of 50 smaller markets, 50 states, right? Usually those states are different, and it is very difficult, and you will see it later. But also why I'm pitching Nevada. Let's call it this way, because you should always find a good place to land, good place to start. You cannot like tackle entire states at the same at once, right? Because of this fragmentation. So also the things that you know from Europe, things you know from Asia, from Africa, they usually don't work here. The same thinking, okay, I will do the same thing I did at home, they will not work here. You have to act locally, you have to think locally. There is no kind of like magic advantage, companies from abroad have in US. You just have you have the same conditions, the same problems the local companies are facing, right? You have to act as local company. There is no other way. There is no magical cheat around this. So that's just how it is. Also, like my story, what I told you, right? In 2015, since 2015 we had office in Miami, right? I had no network there. I had no local connections there. So that our growth at that stage was very, very slow. Only when I moved here, right, and started to create my own network, my own relations, that changed a lot. That helped me really boost the growth of the company. And this is the same for others. If you have no local networks, if you have no local connections, it will be very hard for you to grow the business. Some statistics, right? 92% of customers trust referrals over any other form of advertising. 60% of B2B business comes from referrals. And the referrals convert like in 58% compared to 3% of cold outreach, right? So referrals, network, trusted network, that's what really builds business in the long term. And you cannot access decision makers. You cannot get meetings with investors. You cannot find private customers because you are not because you are unknown here, right? If you have zero local credibility, nobody will talk with you. That's why it's very important to commit, right? Because very often I hear, okay, like we will find the customer first, and then we'll commit, or then we'll think about further expansion. But it's kind of like catch-22. You cannot get the first customer without committing to the market, without being here, without showing that you care, that you want to be local. So that's kind of like what kills companies. Also, at this point, I will mention, like, very often I see people trying to find, okay, we'll find commission-only sales reps that will build our network, that will build our customers base. No, but such things that don't exist. There are no consultants. There are no commission-only sales reps. Everybody who is kind of has anything to knows anything, they will require some kind of salary plus expenses. So probably we're talking about 4K a month. This is just reality of how it works here. Trade localization. I think this is kind of like a also very important thing. Localization, not in terms of language, right? Okay, like we speak English in US. Okay, so that's kind of not a problem. The problem is many people are assuming that what we do in Poland, what we do in Europe, what we do in Asia, in Korea, that's kind of like the same way that US person would like it to be. No, it's completely different market. Like only 37% of US customers will give you a second chance after the first fail experience, right? If you for example, if your app, if your product doesn't work on iPhone, right? If the experience there isn't smooth, probably 63% of people will just leave it, right? They will think something fishy is going on. I don't want to do this. I don't want to interact with this. 50% of customers who will publicize any bad experience, right? So that's also kind of like punishing for those who are not delivering the user experience and that is adjusted to what people are experiencing here. We have example of Tesco, right? They try to enter US market. They spend $20 million on a US expansion of this kind of small local stores, just to learn. But this is not how US consumers are buying food, right? They are used to going to a big shopping mall, big store, and buying our groceries for a week. So the local stores have no, they're just not fitting here, right? So this kind of things we have to understand, and to understand this kind of massive difference between habits of B2B and B2C customers, you need to be successful, you need to have constant feedback from the market. You have to test with customers, you have to adapt, you have to have real input, right, from the market. And only way to do it is to treat this market as a completely new market. You have to find market fit here normally, as you would do on any other when you are just starting your product. I will not even mention, cultural misalignments, right? Business cycles are much shorter here. We are much more direct in communication. We don't like to kind of play around, right? We just go straight to the point. 69% of people say that Americans are much more demanding and have higher expectations than other nations, and that's true, right? So it's bad on one side, but it's very good on other, right? If you succeed here, you will succeed everywhere. Very often, like I was mentioning, that very often companies are trying to do it alone. They are trying to figure out this alone. They are hiring, very expensive consultants. They are trying to, but those consultants are like they will just give you a nice document, right? Nice market research. From this market research, nothing comes out, right? Because it's just paper, right? You need relations. You need to know the customer. You need to interact with the customer. No one here like if I'm a local company, I need to understand my customer, right? And market research will not give it to me. So these are kind of like the pitfalls companies are facing. So to ask, okay, so what's the point, right? Why should I we we probably all know like how huge the market is. It's larger than European Union, Japan, and UK combined. It's the biggest like a spending kind of machine in the world. It's a great innovation ecosystem. We have 611 unicorns versus 134 in Europe. So we all know how huge US market is. It's a difficult market, but it's also a rewarding market. Why now, right? We are hearing about this trade wars and everything, but facts are here, right? There is a lot of foreign investment coming to the US. You can see how well stock market is doing in the US. We have growing GDP, we have growing consumer spending. So I think that the time to act is now, right? Because the first the faster will be more effective, right? And also like as Darwin says, right? The more you can adapt to the changes, the more success you will have, right? So this is really the time to act. So why Nevada, right? It was kind of like we said about this with Chris, with discussion with Chris. We said about this unique partnership we have. Entire ecosystem here is working towards bringing new companies here. If you think about East Coast, if you think about California, Texas, those are very saturated markets, right? You really have to be a big company, kind of be recognizable. It's a red ocean, let's call it this way. But in Nevada, we still kind of have blue ocean. We still have economy that is growing. If you're an investor, you should invest when it's growing, not when it's like already plateauing, right? So it's a very, very, very good place to start in this sense. And this ecosystem of companies, of government, of institutions, of universities, really kind of coming together and helping those companies from outside come here and establish themselves in Nevada. That's really huge. That's what brought me here. That's what convinced me to live here, and it really didn't change in those years. So I really, really recommend this. I will not even mention that we have no corporate tax, no personal income tax, no VAT and these kind of things. So it's really one of the best, if not the best at this point, state in United States for business. I'm from Vegas. You can just like imagine we have 2,500 events every year, and we have 64 million visitors annually. So Poland is coming to Vegas twice a year. Just to give you like an idea, entire Poland twice a year. So you can imagine how much is happening here, how many potential customers you have here, and this is kind of used by global companies. So how to I will be wrapping up. I'm a bit over the time, but let me just finish this. How do you actually succeed, right? How can we succeed on this market? Okay, we want to do it. So how to be successful? Stop doing this alone, basically. Start with an ecosystem, right? It's kind of like a new idea, right, in the global kind of economy of using ecosystems to help tackle problems. Because when you are part of the ecosystem, like a part of RIG, right, of Chamber in Katowice, right, if you are part of other organizations, you are part of the ecosystem, so you're not alone. So you don't need more money, you don't need perfect English, you don't have to relocate immediately. What you need is local networks, market intelligence, and some cultural guidance, right? This is what you need to be successful here. And the answer for my answer kind of for this, my passion project is organization called VisionariesNV. It's like a chamber of chambers, I would call it. It's an all-in-one US market entry platform. We are connecting 6,000 business leaders, multiple chambers, government organizations, investors, universities, all in one platform. So we don't advise. It's not consultancy, right? I'm not consultant. I don't want to be consultant. I don't have time for this. I want to help others do what I did. I want to give other entrepreneurs something I didn't have when I was trying to enter US. I want to give them a tool. I want to give them a platform, a community, but will help them, but is rooted in this great ecosystem in Nevada, but can help them integrate into a Nevada ecosystem to be successful here. So it's like everything you need in one membership, right? In one place. It answers all the problems, all the challenges I was mentioning. So you from day one you get US presence in form of address, phone number. You are integrated into ecosystem by membership in chambers of commerce, by connecting you with different organizations here. We provide studies, like market studies, case studies, mastermind sessions. We have experts here on the platform, local experts, but give you market intelligence and education. We give you strategic introductions. It's like a trust transfer from me, like from my network, from my network of my friends, from network basically of Nevada, right? But we as Nevada, as ecosystem, give you trust to and strategic introductions to people here. So you're kind of bypassing 2 years of networking with one easy step. So it's one entry point to the entire Nevada ecosystem. So how does it work in practice? How I usually advise people to do this? Like you start with this remote, because it's a remote platform. You start remote with membership. You get your address. You get your phone number. You get your connections. And you can start testing the market interest. You can start building initial relations. You can start, testing the market if it's for you. How should I change my product? How should I change my story to fit this? Then you validate, right? So you attend our events, but we also recommend. Okay, I told you 2,500 events every year. There's always something happening in Vegas that is related to your industry. Like now we have fintech. Last week we had medtech. Like a few months ago, we had biggest conference on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So there's always something happening here, and there's always opportunity to come here. So come here for a conference and build on those relations that you build online. And the first phase, scale, right? Using this information, using your personal relations, scale, build more, leverage your network, grow strategically. So it's low risk. You don't have to bet your entire company on this. You test, validate. It's like a smart European approach to US market entry, I would call it. I already mentioned this. We already, in 6 months, we already helped over 20 companies, from unknown to established. And usually the path we see is how we see it in historically, and also like with our membership. It's like from 1 to 3 months, you are still like unknown company. You are starting to build your local presence. You have dozen new connections. But after 6 months, you tested your assumptions. You have market feedback. You have pilot customers. After a year, you have first contracts. You have local references. And then beyond the first year, you have sustainable revenue. You have a platform for further expansion. As I said, like, but it's not only about US. It's also about expanding globally. So this is Visionaries, right? This is how we can help you realize your American dream. Let's stay connected. This is my LinkedIn. Please connect with me. I'll be happy to talk with anyone who is interested in Nevada, in US. I'm happy to kind of advise and assist in your specific situation. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry for being over time, but I really wanted to tell you all the problems I see, because they're repeating so often, but I think it's good to educate on them. Thank you so much, everyone.
Rafał, dziękujemy Ci bardzo. I do zobaczenia, do usłyszenia.
Do usłyszenia. Yes, thank you so much, and see you in Vegas.